बरोबर.
Good evening.
Hello. Yeah, good evening.
Good evening. Good evening. Yes, good evening.
Yes. Hi. Unmute your.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Good evening. So you want like me to share the screen, or like say how you want? Like you will share it, na?
Yes, I will share the screen.
Yeah, yeah. No issue. No issue.
शशिकांत शेअरिंग एनेबल केलंयस तू?
हो ये
ओके.
कसं की पार्टिसिपेंट आले हे म्हणजे स्पीकर आल्याशिवाय मी मुद्दाम चालू करत नाही, कारण काय नाही तर कोणी ना कोणी काहीतरी स्वतःच चालू करत बस. चुकून होतं ते, त्यामुळे ते
यशला टेस्ट करायला सांगायचं का, शेअर करून बघायचं म्हणजे लास्ट मोमेंटला
नको.
प्रेझेंटेशन.
हीच टेक्निकल गाय यार, टेक्निकल आहे ना तू, त्यामुळे तसं काही प्रॉब्लेम नाही ना त्याला माहिती. Hi Yash, by the like say meantime you can just check it out, like say whether you are able to share it or not.
ओके सर. आणखीन एक गोष्ट विचारायची होती का, ह्याच्या आधी जेव्हा मी प्रेझेंटेशन बघत होतो तर जेव्हा मी व्हिडिओ स्टार्ट केला तर कधी कधी काहीतरी प्रॉब्लेम येत होता. तर माझं म्हणणं हे होतं का एकदा मी प्रेझेंटेशन स्टार्ट केल्यावर माझा व्हिडिओ बंद ठेवतो.
हो चालेल ना, काही हरकत नाही.
चालेल ना? ओके.
हो चालेल.
थोडा आवाज लो येतोय त्याचा सांगतो ना, थोडा आवाज. येस, तुझा थोडा आवाज लो येतोय.
आता ऐकू येतंय सर?
येतोय व्यवस्थित येतोय. हो येतोय.
ओके.
तू हेडफोन नाही घातले रे?
मी का?
हा, त्यामुळे तुला आवाज येत नाही ऐकू.
सगळ्यांचे आवाज योगेश तुझ्यासारखे नसतात रे बाळा.
हा, डॉक्टर आले का?
आमच्या गरीबाचे आवाज आहे काय
जगदीश
माळी डॉक्टर आले का?
डॉक्टर कुठे आता, काय नवीन पदवी देतस का काय?
आता सगळेच डॉक्टर आहेत ना, घरी बसून सगळेच डॉक्टर आहेत.
योगेशला म्हटलं त्याचा आवाज कसा मोठा आहे, आपला मोठा आहे, काय काहींचे छोटे आहेत.
नांदेड सिटी वाले सगळे डॉक्टर असतात ना.
काय शंका आहे काय?
म्हणून तर तुझं आणि योगेशचं कौतुक केलं सकाळी मी.
अरे वा, धन्यवाद. पण तुमचं ते हे सापडलं नाही बरं का. मी सकाळपासून बिझीच होतो, तर ते तुमचं मी बघतच होतो. ऍक्च्युली तुमच्या मुलीचं मला माझ्या पर्सनल ह्याच्यावरती पाठवून द्या ना.
पाठवून देते.
हो. योगेश तरी सांग ना तू, ह्याला यशला सांग कसं काय.
ओके. यश.
हो सर.
यश, आर यू एबल टू हिअर?
हो, ऐकू येते मला.
हा, ऐकून घे. जनरली आपण एक 2-3 मिनिटं अजून थांबू, म्हणजे पीपल कॅन जॉईन.
Okay.
By 5:32 Shashikant will introduce you. Okay.
Sure.
Maybe a minute or two.
Where it is already.
And then generally it is expected that your session should be around 20 to 25 minutes of your presentation plus talk. Okay. Plus minus 5 minutes.
Okay, sure.
Followed by
sure.
10 minutes of question answers. Not necessarily 10, but generally the 10 to 15 minutes question answers are given as a slot for. And then there could be some sharing if people want, as per the time permits, there could be some sharing of thoughts also by others. So in a way, it's around 50 minutes to 55 minutes of a session. Okay. And Shashikant will give a intimation before the session reboots, because this after 40 minutes this session gets rebooted. So he will give heads up to everyone 5 minutes prior in both the sessions, because generally we have to have 2 sessions, 2 slots actually. So he will be giving that hint. So please take note of that. And in the first interval, please join back. So we won't be waiting too much for a long time, and then we can continue.
Okay, sure.
I think that makes good sense. I think Shashi can start and introduce probably Yash, and then we could start the session. Before that,
Let's
just
wait
tips.
for 2-3
Please
minutes.
keep away your phones from other electronic devices. Keep your face in a lighted, open to light, so your if your video is on, your face is visible. Uh, Generally, others can keep their phone on mute, except speaker, me, and Shashikant for a certain time. So we'll also go on mute later, and only presenter would keep his phone on unmute condition. I think that's a basic principle that rules that we should follow. Otherwise, this is an open world for us. Anyway, Shashikant, you please go ahead.
Yeah. Good evening, all. Good evening, Bause sir. Good evening, Gujarat.
Good evening, good evening.
Yeah.
I have got Deepak also from Gujarat.
Oh, okay. Good, good, good. Yes, you can unmute your microphone, because I'm seeing that your microphone is on mute. Okay. So Ajinkyan's, let's say, we have one of our, let's say, Ajinkyan's son for today's session, Mr. Yash Lad, who is from Bangalore. Okay, he's based in Bangalore and he's working with IT industry, and his son of Ajinkyan Saroj Lad, Mrs. Saroj Lad, Dr. Mrs. Saroj Lad, and grandson of Saraf sir. So Yash, you can introduce yourself in detail regarding your IT let's say expertise and all, and then you can continue with the session. Over to you, Yash. Thank you.
Sure, sir. Thank you, Shashikant sir and Yogesh sir, for giving this introduction. So I'll give a short introduction of myself. My name is Yash. I am grandson of Saraf sir, your maths professor. I have done my BTech in mechanical engineering, and now I am working as a trainee data scientist in the company of Mu Sigma, which is based in Bangalore. So apart from that, I have done various projects in college, including the one which was in SAE, which stands for the Society of Automotive Engineers. So we created a race car in that. So I have 1 year of experience in building and designing the race cars. Apart from that, I was in a I was in a competition by DRDO. So our project mainly was designing a remotely controlled vehicle which will pick the injured soldiers from the cross-country fire situation and bring them back to the hospitality team.
You can continue with your session, Yash.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let me share my screen.
Yeah, please.
Are you able to see my screen now?
Yeah. Oh, okay. School building. Great.
Okay. Thank you everyone for giving me this opportunity. Last time voice of the presenting person was breaking very much. So this time I would like to keep my video off while sharing my presentation in this session. Okay.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome. My name is Yash Lad. In this session, I attempt to provide you a jargon-free introduction to data analytics. It's quite a buzz these days, and this session is meant for people who are yet to take their first steps towards the data analytics. So let's get started. What's the buzz? What you see written on the slides are some common terms that are being used very frequently these days, especially if you are part of a corporate world and if you are looking for a different job portal and all, then you would know that there are terms that are commonly used and more frequently used these days: business analytics, business intelligence, data analytics, and data science. It's not important for us to get into a debate as to how these vary. Uh, 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 for a starter, there is a good overlap between all of these. So there is a starting point when you develop your career in a particular direction. You can become more specific about what you want to pursue. But just for a quick introduction sake, let me tell you, business analytics is the use of analytics focused for business. That's for decision making, primarily for the managers or the stakeholders in the business. Data analytics is an overreaching term which you can say supersedes the scenario of business and goes into the field of healthcare, could go into hello, ऐकू येतं sir? Hello.
You are audible. You are audible.
Okay. So data analytics is an overreaching term which you can say supersedes the scenario of business and goes to the field of healthcare, could go into research, could go into education. So data analytics is an overall term, but analytics can be, uh, uh, but sorry, business analytics can be a subset to it. Business intelligence, this would be a mix of analytics and lot of analysis, which might come from the understanding of processes and the way your processes flow. So this is more to do with the analytics and your subject matter expertise. And data science, I would say, the vastest term among all these, and it's very popular these days. This is a mix of multiple skills, and we can talk about that as we move on later. सर आपला सेशन रेकॉर्ड होतोय ना?
हो.
Okay. Parallel to these terms is another term which is quite popular and is used very frequently by people, and it is called big data. So what is big data? Let me put it in simple terms. Any data that is beyond your system's capacity to process could be big data for your system. For example, when we talk about big data, there is certain V that are important. V as in velocity. So data is generated at a very high speed. V as in volume. So there is a large volume of data that is getting stored. V as in variety of data that is generated through multiple sources. The data might not be present in a specific file format or structured all the time. It could be n number of resources. And there is something to do with veracity, or you can refer to the accuracy of the data captured. So big data is more technical, I would say, and technical with the aspects associated with its storage and the processing speed. So the underlying technique to work on big data and approach from analytics side on it would be the same, but yes, there are some technical terms getting associated. Now, what's the buzz? What are people talking about? For example, Gartner says, in 2020, data and analytics can't be ignored. Analytics will drive major innovations and disrupt established business models in the coming years. Technical professionals need to adapt their data and analytics architecture from end to end to meet the demand for analytics everywhere. And McKinsey says there will be a shortage of talent necessary for organizations to take advantage of big data. By 2020, the United States could alone face shortage of 140,000 to 190,000 people with deep analytic skills, as well as 1.5 million managers and the analysts with know-how to use the analysis of big data to make effective decisions. Now, these are some reputed names in the field of consulting and research, and if And if they feel that there is going to be change in the way businesses have been operating so far, of course, businesses will need to hire for the right skill set, and that's where a shortage of right manpower in the industry is anticipated. In fact, if you talk about the Harvard Business Review, the HBR, it is clearly called out that the sexiest job of 21st century is data analytics. So you can imagine that this is going to be there. This is going into the demand for future. Therefore, those of us who have not taken their first step in this direction should definitely consider doing that now. Moving forward, why a sudden demand? So let's try to understand why the entire scenario has changed so much. Now, first one is that we know that demand has come up, but what has led to that demand? Of course, you all know that there is a good increase or explosion in the digital footprint. There is more and more social media that has come up. Every other person has access to a smartphone, the digital devices, tablets, computers, and all of this in the arena of social media that is getting recorded. Some people refer to it as a digital trace. So our access to internet, the internet of things, and social media, all of these put together lead to complete explosion in the availability of data. And to put it in a precise numbers, this is how these stats look like. So 0.79 zettabytes of data was generated till about 2009. Between 2009 and 11, you can see there's 1.2 zettabytes of data that is generated, and it continues to increase. In fact, it is anticipated that by the year 2020, we will have 35 zettabytes of data. And those of you who are not familiar with the zettabytes, let's assume it is a lot of data, but to give you a conversion ratio, let me tell you, 1 zettabyte is close to 10 to the power of 9 of gigabytes. But you can look at an explosion here several hundred times compared to what it was there earlier, much earlier. So no wonder why the availability of data that's generated would definitely encourage the businesses and enterprises to understand and extract the value around the data. But where we might be lagging is the fact that our education system didn't get modified. In most of the countries, education system didn't change as per the enormous amount of data that is going to be available. So people continue to study what they were studying for years. And at the same point in time, the business where the management was slow to react to the huge availability of data, they did not do sufficient investment in their employees to equip them with the right skills and prepare them for the upcoming demand. Having said that, some of you are attending this session might be students. Now there is nothing that you have lost. You can still go ahead and build the skill set if you are interested in the field of data science. And there is a long way to go. There would be people in the session who are already working, and maybe they have these in their work experience. Irrespective of that, you can definitely find a place for yourself in the data analytics arena. No matter where you are in your career, if you are a working professional, point is you can always take that first step and gain something out of it, provided you are willing to take that first step. Now, if you say that you are in a May of your career and you want to survive for the next 20 years without acquiring these skills, the times could be really challenging for you, and that's all I could say right now. Now, what is analytics? So let's understand this. First of all, the word analytics comes into existence from Greece. They had a word called analytikos, which meant involving analysis. What is the difference between analysis and analytics? It's very simple. Analytics always has an element of data associated with it, and analysis has more to do with the procedure and adherence to the procedures in very simple terms. Moving towards the definition of analytics, so there are two definitions that are like and have mentioned names of the person who coded these definitions. First one, the analysis of data, typically large set of data by the use of mathematics, statistics, and computer software. It's important to note here that most of the work you will be doing here will be supported by some or the other computer software, programming languages, or a tool. It's almost impossible to work on these large sets of data and do all the calculations manually. The other definition, which is more application oriented, is analytics is the science of using data to build models that lead to better decisions that in turn add value to individuals, companies, and institutions. So this is the more practical definition, and if you pay attention more towards the definition, this kinds of sum up everything you need to know what an analyst does. Moving forward to the type of analytics. There are three types of analytics. So first one is descriptive. This describes what has already occurred. It helps business understand how things are going. So this is past data and you are just preparing summary of data and trying to understand. This is more reactive in nature and it has mostly to do with the past. Predictive, which is the most popular when we talk about all types of analytics. It tells us what probably will happen in the future as a result of something that has already happened. So now you are leveraging on the information which is available to you from the past data and trying to make decisions from the future. They help the business forecast future behavior and results. It is proactive. So based on what has happened, we have to take certain proactive measures on what is going to happen in future. Prescriptive. The last one, which is closely relative to predictive, is prescriptive analytics. Let me share that. It helps the business prescribe right course of action. They not only help us what probably will happen, but also what should be done if it happens. And it is again a proactive measure. So predictive tells us what's going to happen. Prescriptive tells actions we should take when we know something is going to be materialized. Moving forward, we have languages. Talking about the languages and tools, initially tools to perform the advanced analytics were only available via licensing, and the companies used to bear a hefty cost for these. Therefore, the access was always limited to the employees of some large-size corporations. But now, there are ample open source solutions supported by large communities across the globe that are constantly working on these open source solutions, which came quite handy for all data enthusiasts. Two most popular languages are R and Python. Both offer integrated suite of software facilities for data manipulation, calculation, and graphical display. Speaking of the differences in between the two, the simple response without wasting any time on debate is both are good, choose one and move on. Now going to the analytics use cases, we will now be looking at some of the use cases of analytics. And let me tell you, even if you are not involved in the business of doing analytics yourself, you can be assured that your buying behavior, your data, your presence in social media, and, and through a lot of other channels is definitely being analyzed by people who you do your business with. Nobody at this point in time in the digital age is untouched when it comes to analytics. The use cases will only emphasize this further. Test analytics. Now, 80% of the data that is available today is not in structured format. That is, the data doesn't come naturally, come into rows and columns. It could be a free expression written on internet like a Facebook post. Text analytics is used to analyze customer sentiments. Let's say we have a business of providing technical support to the customers, and we provide technical support through a chat-based medium where the customers type their concerns and we immediately on a real-time basis try to cater to their requirements. Now, if a customer is repeatedly using these words, repair, not working, slow, and there could be another set of words, trouble, frustrating, waste, refund, return, escalation. Now you see most of these words have a negative impact quantitation. There could be exceptions here and there, but overall a customer who is initiating a chat and talking about these, he is facing some or the other problem. And so is the case with similar words. Looking at these, you can very well imagine the sentiment of a customer on the other hand, and would be a customer who has almost given up on you. So he is not going to talk positively about your product. What can we do to prevent these things from happening? And can we take charge of the situation immediately and do our course correction? HR analytics now. Employee attrition is a big problem for a company, and they spend roughly about 20% of the CTC of a churn resource to find his or her backfill. And not only this is just to get the backfill, when a backfill takes up the position, he needs a learning curve to be able to the some level of performance. So it's about money that you spend, the patience that you have to bear with the new employee till the time he catches up. Data scientists have developed algorithms powered by key indicators that taken together can dramatically predict an employee's intent to stay with or leave the company. So let's say there are about 25 to 30 attributes that are critical when it comes to predicting employee attrition. And for a company constantly keeps an eye on those. It would be able to address the employer's issues in a more proactive way rather than waiting for the day when an employee comes and submits the resignation and you try to do an exit interview and try to retain that employee. That's almost too late. He has made up his mind to move out. Another use case is the customer lifetime value. I often ask these to my teams and friends that why your companies provide you a loyalty card. And I always get a lot of mixed set of responses. People see that they want to make me feel good. I earn some loyalty points and I invest those points fair so they get more business out of me. Of course, is a way to pay you respect that you are a valuable customer, but the real model is to able to track what you are doing. See, it's easy in terms of an online transaction to figure out that you logged in and you used the user ID and password and make a purchase on an online portal. So they know who is purchasing what and they keep a track of it. But in a brick and mortar store where the people who just walk in and pick up n number of products that they want to buy, how would you how would you track what is my lifetime value if you do not have a loyalty card? So if I have a unique number associated with the final billing uh, that I do at the counter, my company knows that I walked in after 2 months and these are the items that I purchased. This could be a good way to track the outcomes of different promotional campaigns that the supermarket runs from time to time. Crime prevention. This is a very interesting case. Let's understand that while these are specific examples, they can be generalized across industries and scenarios. Here we are talking about India and the problem about tiger. What happens is there are a lot of groups that are into this business of tiger poaching, and they assume that there are some superstitious belief that exists that tiger bones can be used to make certain medicines which are a solution to certain incurable diseases. Now, this has been happening for years, and these poachers are pretty smart. So they know the jungles very well, at times even better than the forest department officers themselves. And that's why there is a chase in between two all the time. Over the past few years, computer codes were written and about 25,000 data points have been analyzed since 1972 across 605 districts on wildlife poaching crimes. Using this data and applying appropriate techniques, the wildlife saves could, savers could narrow down on certain hotspots where the tiger killing was more likely to happen. This helped them prevent and control tiger poaching on a very large scale. The last analytics use case which we are going to discuss is the healthcare analytics. Talking about the healthcare analytics, and this is a very important and well-known study called Framingham Heart Study, which was performed in the US. It's name of a town where the people participated in the study. It originated in 1948 when scientists embarked on an ambitious project to identify risk factors for heart disease. Today, the study remains a world-class epicenter for cutting-edge heart, brain, bone, and sleep research. What it enables you is to do is that when you go to the site, you will be able to see that putting your characteristics, you can very well figure out what is your risk score to acquire a cardiovascular disease, saying a time frame of 10 years. So you can generate a Framingham test score which tells you that you are prone to have a heart disease given the kind of habits that you have right now. So you can see that it's not just in terms of business applications that we talk about in analytics. It's about targeting the right customer for a promotion. It goes on to prevent crimes. It goes on to save lives. It ensures that you live a longer and healthier life. It can be applied to almost all the industries and sectors. That's why it is fair to say that the world around us is changing and we need to equip ourselves with the right set of skills. My name is Yash Lad. Thank you everyone for patiently listening.
Yes, you done with everything, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so let's open up for the question answer session.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So Ajinkyan, please do raise your questions and queries to Yash. He would be there to answer those queries.
Hi Shashikant, I am Deepak Chaudhary here. I have a question for Yash.
Yes,
See,
sir.
we
Hello,
have a
sir.
lot of data about exports and a lot of the process data we accumulate every month. So
Yes,
what
yes,
is the
right.
best software that I can use for analysis?
So when you are talking of the process data, can you be more specific in that?
See, like we have a process where we take temperature readings, the speed of the machines, and this has to be continuously analyzed.
Yes, yes, right, right. So for that, there are specific software which are which are on the industry standards. So I don't remember names of those softwares right now. So as I told that there are three types of analytics, right? The predictive, prescriptive, and all. So uh, after hearing your case, I feel that your case falls in the area of predictive analytics. So what you
Right.
can do is you can either purchase a software or you can make a software from your own by the analytics team. So if say a temperature, if say you set a temperature threshold, and if the temperature reading goes beyond that, it will sound an alarm and all that. So systems like these are basically used in every nuclear power plant. I would say.
Oh. But how about analyzing the existing data? Let's say we have certain export data of India.
Yes, right,
We
right.
have to analyze
Mhm.
like what kind of customers are exporting what kind of product to what countries. And this every month we have to analyze. There are about 50 to 60,000 readings every month we get.
Yes, yes, right, right, right. So for that, I will recommend you the descriptive analytics. So it already tells us what has already occurred. So in your
Right.
case, you have the data of what has occurred in past. You want a result on that
Just to
right
add to
now.
Right.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, just to
So
add to Yash, Deepak, you could use Power BI or you could use Tableau type of softwares, which are used for data
so-
visualization. But you'll need a team which will analyze and process your data. Just to add to what Yash is suggesting here.
yes, I
Okay.
completely agree with Sanjay sir. But in that also, if you talk about the Power BI software and the Tableau software, so Tableau software is quite expensive for an organization. And if you talk of the Power BI, it is quite cheaper when we compare to all the other visualization software which we have right now. So what you can do in Power BI is you can make reports, you can do a little bit of predictive analytics, but there are very less use cases of predictive analytics in there. So if you're talking about the stocks, yes, you can definitely go for the Power BI.
But
Thank
the
you,
number
Sanjay
of
sir.
stocks that he's
Yeah,
talking about,
thank you, Yash. Thank you,
60K.
Sanjay. Yeah.
What I heard is his number of entries per month are only 60K. So I don't think it needs a lot of analytics there. It can be, sort of just if it is a freeware that he wants to use, he can even use something like MS Access and get it done. I know it will not give the analytics like what you have talked about, but it will generate the report that he wants.
Yes, it
How,
will generate.
how about
Yes,
dashboard? Dashboard is good.
yes, dashboarding is good. So if you're going for dashboard, yes, I will recommend for Power BI only. But as Nitin sir is saying, so if your data is quite low, what I mean to say is you don't have a million rows of data. So
Yes,
in that
absolutely.
you can do dashboarding in Excel as well.
Okay.
So dashboard is your final output. You can use n number of tools to do that. Basically, you'll have to sort of use one of the technology which Yes is highlighting. It could be Power BI, depending on data. If you have a large
Okay.
amount of data, then you'll have to have a whole backend system established, which will process that data for you. So all these tools
on its own may not be able to solve the problem. So we'll have to club tools together, like you need to have proper database, you need to have processing power in terms of that data engine, and then also transformation of data where you are getting from. So it's a science on its own, which
let's rejoin, because we may get disconnected anytime. So let's say rejoin and have a discussion then. Yeah.
Sure. Thanks, Sanjay. Thanks, Yash. Nice. It was a good presentation.